So yes, it's bound to be the biggest fight of the year by an absolute landslide. It's going to be smack bang in the middle of your Netflix home screen next to Jeffrey Dahmer, and the numbers are going to be completely off the chart. Well, maybe. Sort of. I mean, Crawford ain't got the popularity of a big dog like Mike Tyson, but we'll come back to that in a minute. Anyway, yes, it's going to be mega stuff. Two undisputed titans of boxing coming together to try and spark each other clean out. However, I mean, it didn't start off great because the first picture we see, they're both sitting there eating a fucking Big Mac. What's this? Come dine with me, leave off. Anyway, luckily though, it all seemed to perk up in the actual pressers.
For sure, them belts coming with me. They coming home with me. I'm telling you right now.
You can see it, but it's gonna be difficult. You take it to your home.
I'm taking them, and ain't nothing you gonna be able to do about it come fight night.
I know Turkey's in your corner, but look, it's gonna be very difficult. He's gonna be so mad that day. Believe me.
I see you. I see you. You see I'm different.
I see you too.
You see I'm different than all the other ones.
No, I see you. No, you don't know different. You're nothing different.
I'm different.
Nothing different.
I'm different.
If he were to beat you, how damaging would that be to the Canelo brand?
He's not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it. He's not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it.
Let's be cool, boys. That direction, I don't want either one of you guys to get hurt.
Okay, so then, what are we saying about old Phil Mitchell being up there? Yes, Dana White, the UFC giant. I don't know, it just don't feel right to me. It's like Gary Lineker rocking up to the rugby and going, oh yeah, this is going to be a good game, people. Get your popcorn ready. You'd be like, oh, fuck off, Gary, you plug. But no, fair's fair. It was entertaining enough, the old presser, and luckily for Dana, he ain't got to do much because a fucking ferret could promote this fight. It's so exciting, so intriguing, and has a million questions left unanswered. But yes, before we get to the fight, let's discuss one question that has been doing the rounds. Is it going to be one of the biggest fights of all time? Well, I suppose yes, in a way, because Netflix viewers are going to see it smack bang in the middle of their home screen on September the 13th, and with around 300 million subscribers globally, you'd imagine at least 10 to 20% are going to whack it on at some point. I mean, there's shit all else to watch on there, but unfortunately, let's be honest, it ain't going to do anywhere near Jake Paul, Mike Tyson numbers, because their profiles separately are monumentally bigger than Canelo and Crawford put together. However, it's a bit of an unfair metric for the biggest fight of all time discussion because it's a ready-made Netflix audience and people don't have to actively go out and purchase it. So a better metric to go by would be how many pay-per-view buys would it have done, for argument's sake. Well, again, it probably wouldn't do numbers anywhere near a freak show like Mayweather-McGregor or the all-time daddy Mayweather-Pacquiao at over 4.5 million buys, but does it crack 2.5 million or even 3? Well, maybe, because they're certainly ramping up the promotion, but the one thing holding it back is of course the rather low-profile of Terence Crawford to a casual and mainstream audience. But then again, having said all that, in the grand scheme of things, who gives a fuck? Bring it on, it's going to be mustard. Now, Terence Crawford is a great of the sport, and that is a fact. But I've seen the debate bandied about a lot over the years in regards to his opponents. Has he beaten all the elites in his era, or did he get them all at the right time? In fact, Canelo alluded to this in their little sit-down.
I said before, he's a great fighter. But if you look at his career, mention one elite fighter. Just mention me one elite fighter.
So Postal wasn't elite?
Who?
Victor Postal.
Who's that guy?
Oh, so he wasn't commercialized. He wasn't.
Who's
he
that
wasn't a great. Ricky Burns wasn't elite.
What? 40 years old.
So Ricky Burns wasn't elite.
Ricky Burns doesn't elite.
Okay,
he's not elite.
It's cool. Is
there a champion?
I'm going to fight another elite.
There is a champions. Good fighters, but elite fighters is different.
So I suppose when Canelo's beaten Triple G twice, a prime Amir Khan, Cotto, then a number of top-level fighters like Saunders, Kovalev, Jacobs, the list goes on, you're probably not going to win that argument by replying with Victor Postal and Ricky Burns. Don't get me wrong, I love Postal and Burns, big 'em up, but in comparison, it's just not quite on the same level. And although Crawford has actually fought much bigger names than those two fighters, did he say them two names knowing that he couldn't say the likes of Amir Khan, Kell Brook and Sean Porter? Because fans and the boxing fraternity would consider them all to be a bit washed up, as he fought them all just before they retired. And some may even put Errol Spence amongst that pack as well, because after the car crash many argue, was he the same fighter? Did Terence beat the very best version or an injury prone lesser version? Now then, just before you Crawford fans go fucking mental in the comment section, these ain't my words, it's just the ongoing Crawford debate for fans. I personally think he's the bollocks and he'd probably have hammered Khan Khan, Porter and Brook all in their primes anyway. But going back to the matter at hand, I suppose you could say Canelo has got a point in the grand scheme of things. Anyway, regardless of Canelo's observation, there's one thing that is very apparent in their most recent fights of the last 4 years. You would have to say that out of the two, Canelo is the one that seems to be slightly dipping, or at least dipping compared to the great Canelo in his prime. So fair to say he was peaking from Golovkin 2 in 2018 all the way up until the Bivol loss in 2022. Then I suppose you can chuck in a great performance against Golovkin straight after that, but since then he's had 5 decent decision victories in a row, but against fighters you wouldn't consider to be anywhere near his level. Mind you, we do have to take into account the fact that Berlanga came to survive, Charlo came to survive, and Skull definitely fucking came to survive. In fact, he looked like he was on a fucking treadmill all night. Liberty. But either way, maybe this does tell a story that he's lacking a little something that he had a few years prior. Now, of course, some may call that harsh because ultimately he did put Ryder, Berlanga, Munguia and Charlo all on the canvas, but you know, just going by the eye test, you don't have to be Teddy Atlas to see there is a slight difference in recent times. And let's not beat about the bush here. If Canelo knew 100%, if he knew for absolute certain that he was still firing on all cylinders and as sharp as he could ever be, let's have it right, he wouldn't have fought the likes of Charlo or Berlanga, he would have rematched Dimitri Bivol, or he would have fought David Benavidez. Or maybe he'd have done both. The fact that he didn't pursue either of them fights may just tell us that the man knows he has some limits nowadays. But I'll tell you what, you know what don't have limits? Yes, it's the absolutely brilliant boxing Showtime. Now this app offers it all from a detailed schedule to comprehensive information on each event, along with the tailor the tapes, fight times, ticket sources, up-to-date undercard lineups and a boatload of technical overviews on each of your favourite fighters. Plus, they've got a terrific new feature for scorecards. Now you can be the judge on live or past fights and see how they match up. So check out all the juicy details about Usyk Dubois 2, plus much more, and read all the hot news stories bubbling up in the boxing world, and it fucking blinding. So use my promo code below for access to all the ad-free premium features, everything a boxing fan could ever need. Smashing stuff. Now back to the vid. So going off their most recent couple of fights, we've got Canelo in that William Skull snooze fest and Crawford in a very close decision victory over Madrimov. Down at super welterweight, I may add, we'll talk about that in a minute, but truth be told, the Skull fight told us shoutout, because William decided to go jogging for half an hour. It's just not boxing, bruv. Anyway, I suppose this did tell us that Canelo struggled to cut off the ring, so make of that what you will. But then for Terence, we had the big Riyadh season fight against Madrimov, and yes, okay, he won, but you know, it could have gone either way, to be fair. A few people had Madrimov winning that fight, and unfortunately for him, the victory hasn't aged too well because Madrimov was completely flat in his next fight against Ortiz. So then, is nicking a decision against Madrimov a super welter a good look when you're going in against an all-time great 2 weight divisions above? Probably not. And I'm just throwing it out there, personal opinion, but for me, there ain't no way that Crawford is going to put a single dent in Canelo, not a fucking sausage. In fact, I reckon his punches are going to feel like that beauty that McGregor landed on Mayweather. Remember that one? Yeah, that was his best punch in a fucking fight. Of course, this ain't a diss at Bud's power, it's just a nod to Canelo's unbelievable, indestructible chin.
Men exchange good right hands. Short, tight punches as well. Right hand again by Golovkin. Canelo says no, but it landed.
Triple G couldn't hurt him, light heavy Bivol and Kovalev couldn't hurt him, so for me there's just no way a naturally smaller Bud will. So that could mean that old Bud would have to be punch perfect for the full 12 rounds and nothing less. Mind you, he certainly is going to try and put a dent in him, because big up old Turkey, he said there'll be no Tom and Jerry in for this fight, bruv, and we're loving Crawford's response to all the running accusations.
Turkey, you need to put a small ring, the smaller ring in the...
Right. Yeah. The only running that I'm going to be doing is running upside his head, and I can assure you that.
So on the basis there's going to be no Tom and Jerry as they call it, the big question is, can Crawford throw bombs with Canelo? Can he trade in the pocket and absorb what Canelo's landing while simultaneously making an impact on the Mexican himself? Well, who the fuck knows? I mean, for most super welters you'd say absolutely not, but then again, this is Bud Crawford and he's a bit different. Having said that though, I think we'd all expect Canelo to come out on top if it was a fight in a phone box all night, but assuming that it's not, Crawford does have incredible timing and a boxing IQ fully on par with the man in the opposite corner. So don't be too shocked if he lands a plenty that Canelo simply doesn't see coming. Now, the bookies have got it close, but naturally they've got it just in favour of Canelo, and I suppose rightly so. It's just simply hard to bet against a man who's been fighting a couple of divisions above, who's fought many more elite opponents, and who's shown to be one of the greatest to ever do it. I doubt he ever takes opponents lightly, but I'm sure he's got a little bit more fire in the belly for this fight compared to the last 4 or 5, and he'll be training twice as hard knowing that this is going to be one of his final hurrahs and something he'll always be remembered for. Don't get me wrong, Crawford obviously will as well, but with all Canelo's advantages, yes, it's no shock that he's shorter on the odds. Mind you, to be fair, it is a mixed bag amongst the old boxing fraternity.
I'm going with Terence Crawford, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you.
At the end of the day, looking forward off of the last fight with Canelo, I like Crawford every bit as much as I did before that Canelo fight, and even more now.
Crawford had a hard time with a 154-pounder who hit him often. So I think that no matter how much weight he puts on, no matter how smart he thinks he is or how big he thinks he is, he's going to be getting hit by a truck. And he's not used to that. And I think that at the beginning, just like it was with Kell Brook and Gennady, at the beginning, the speed and the talent will show in the fight. I think Canelo will lose 3 or 4 rounds at the beginning. But then once he starts pounding on him, as it's been for the last 6, 7 fights of Canelo, after the 6th or 7th round, it's a sparring session for him. He just throwing bombs away and not caring about what they do to him.
A lot of people that say that Crawford can beat Canelo, no problem. I mean, I respect that. But I just think they're stupid. Terence Crawford moved from 47 to 54 to fight Madrimov. What did he do to Madrimov? Nothing. Okay, Madrimov was a 54-pounder. Now, to move up to 168, that's 2 more divisions. Canelo Alvarez will take any punch from Crawford. I don't think Crawford has anything to beat Canelo.
So there we go. In a nutshell, everyone's a little bit skew-whiff on this fight. It's a tricky one to call, and the timing of it makes it as interesting as it gets. In terms of skill level, it simply does not get any better than this, baby. So roll on September the 13th, have a little gander at boxing showtimes, and bon voyage for now.